Jill decides it's time to act. She can't let Abbott Chancellor fall just because Billy is out of control. Jill, now healthier after treatment, is ready to confront Billy and take back control of the company before it's too late. The Young and the Restless story continues to get more intense than ever, with characters facing internal conflicts, power struggles, and betrayals. Diane faces a tragic future, Lily struggles against Victor's manipulations, and Jill is willing to do whatever it takes to keep the company from falling apart. The outcome of these confrontations will be unpredictable, and it all leads to dramatic events in the upcoming episodes. Young and the Restless spoilers reveal Diane Jenkins stood in front of her office window, holding the phone, her hands shaking as she dialed Jack's number. The seconds seemed to drag on as she waited for him to answer. A feeling of anxiety and heaviness weighed heavily on her after the theft of the product. She knew that another fight was about to break out between them, and she didn't want that to happen. Her marriage with Jack was under too much pressure, and with each argument, Diane feared more and more that Jack would regret marrying her. When Jack's calm voice rang out on the other end of the line, Diane immediately realized that this conversation was not going to be easy. Jack asked bluntly about the product situation, his voice clearly filled with anger. Diane, not wanting to make things worse, tried to calmly explain, but the tension in the air was so thick that it was hard to breathe. She felt like she was walking a tightrope. One small mistake could send her tumbling into the abyss of collapse. When the conversation ended, Diane couldn't stand the feeling of being overwhelmed. She put down the phone, grabbed her coat, and hurried out of the house. She needed to see someone who could help her sort through these emotions. The first person who came to mind was Michael Baldwin. She quickly called him, arranging to meet him at the Grand Phoenix Hotel. At GCAC, Michael listened to Diane's confession, his face pensive. Diane admitted that Kyle's betrayal had hurt her more than ever. She felt like she was losing everything, her family, her job, and perhaps Jack. Michael, a loyal friend, tried to reassure Diane, but he was also worried about her future. Diane confessed that she was afraid that Jack would regret marrying her, and that their marriage would not survive the stress. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Victor Newman was preparing for the next step in his plan. He was not surprised when Nikki revealed the truth to Lily. In fact, Victor had predicted this and prepared everything in advance. He assured Nikki that this was just the beginning of a chain of events that would push Billy into a corner. In Victor's mind, Diane Jenkins was just another pawn in his larger game. He believed that Jack finally realizing that Diane had returned only for money and power would cause their marriage to fall apart immediately. And then Diane would be left alone, with nowhere to turn. After leaving GCAC, Diane felt somewhat relieved, but fear still simmered within her. She knew that Victor was secretly watching, and he would not stop until she was completely destroyed. Diane tried to keep her spirits up, but it was not easy as she felt herself losing control of everything. Meanwhile, Lily met Devin at his office. She wanted to share what had happened recently, especially about Nikki confessing the truth to her. Lily knew that Victor was manipulating things, and this made her feel extremely insecure. "Devin, I can't believe it's gone this far," Lily said, her eyes worried. "Victor is playing a dangerous game, and I'm afraid I'm not strong enough to fight him." Devin nodded, understanding his sister's worries. He had always wanted Lily to join the family business, but right now she had to focus on saving the Chancellor. Devin felt uneasy that Lily planned to take advantage of Billy and Victor's underestimation, afraid that she would be caught up in the never-ending war. "You have to be careful, Lily. Victor is not easy to deal with, and if you're not careful, you'll be sucked into this vortex by him." Lily bit her lip, knowing that Devin was right, but she couldn't sit still and wait. She was tired of being looked down upon by Billy and Victor. She is determined not to let anyone underestimate her again, and if necessary, she will use every tool at her disposal to regain control. Meanwhile, Victor continues to watch from afar. He is not worried about what Lily knows, because he has prepared in advance. To him, this is just part of a larger plan to overthrow Billy and humiliate the Abbott family. When Nikki asks if Victor is worried, he just smiles and reassures her that everything is under control. "This is just the beginning, Nikki. Billy will not get out of this, and when he falls, the Chancellor will be ours." Meanwhile, Jill Abbott has learned about Billy firing Lily. She is not pleased, but she believes that Billy will come to his senses and invite Lily back. However, when Lily reveals that Billy hired Phyllis Summers and did not pay enough attention to Victor's threats, Jill becomes worried. Lily warns that Billy may be on the verge of collapse, and she fears he will take the whole company down with him. Jill, who has always pampered Billy, now feels angry with herself for letting things go so far. Diane Jenkins has long been a controversial figure in Genoa City, and her marriage to Jack Abbott has not only been met with skepticism from her family but also from longtime enemies like Victor Newman. Her seemingly perfect marriage to Jack is on the brink of collapse as a series of conspiracies and secrets are gradually revealed. The power play at Jabot and the truth about Diane may be the biggest shock to Kyle, causing him to regret his past mistakes. Victor Newman has long suspected the real reason why Diane returned to Genoa City after many years of disappearance. Although she always said that she returned to find her family, love and make amends, Victor did not believe those beautiful words. He knew very well that Diane was a calculating person, always looking to climb up the social ladder, at all costs. And this time, he decided to take action to expose her true face. Kyle Abbott, Diane's son, is caught in a web of betrayal and intrigue. In a moment of weakness, and urged by his mother, Kyle decides to steal a key product from the family company Jabot to supply to Glissade. It is an action that Kyle will quickly regret when the truth is revealed. His blind decisions have pushed him to the brink, confronting his own family, but the greatest pain will be when he realizes that his mother, the person he has always trusted, is actually a person full of lies. While Victor is secretly implementing his plan, Jabot falls into a serious crisis when Kyle's theft of the product is discovered. Diane and Jack both understand that this is not only a shock to the company but also a heavy blow to the family relationship. Diane has always tried to maintain her position in the hearts of Jack and Kyle, but with this situation, everything seems to be spiraling out of control. Tensions rise in the Abbott household as Jack begins to regret his decision to marry Diane. Although Diane tries to convince him that she loves him and that everything she does is for the family, Jack increasingly realizes that her words are just part of a larger plan that Diane is secretly carrying out. And as usual, whenever work-related tensions flare up, their arguments revolve around Kyle. Jack cannot accept Kyle's betrayal of his family, and Diane is always trying to protect her son, putting the two at odds. After a heated argument with Jack, Diane has no choice but to leave to calm down. She decides to call Michael Baldwin, an old friend and trusted lawyer, for a meeting. During this meeting, Diane admits that Kyle stole Jabot's products for Glissade, and she no longer knows what to do to control the situation. What scared her most was the feeling that Jack was slowly regretting marrying her, and that made her more miserable than ever. After sharing her worries with Michael, Diane decided to go to the bathroom to calm down. But when she returned, she couldn't believe her eyes when she saw Victor Newman standing next to Michael. Diane quickly understood that this was not a random encounter. Victor had planned it all along, and this meeting was just the next step in his plan to expose her. "That whole story about you coming back from the dead to revive your love for your family," Victor said coldly. "It's all bullshit. You came back for money and power, right?" Diane was stunned, but she tried to regain her composure and replied, "Jack loves me, and so does Kyle. My family means everything to me." Victor, with a sarcastic smile, took a step closer, his eyes as sharp as knives. "Your fake face is about to be exposed, Diane. That will be the end of your marriage and you will lose everything." Diane trembled when she heard those words, but she tried to keep her composure and left immediately. Inside her, panic began to rise. Diane knew that Victor was not a joker. He was a calculating and powerful man who always knew how to achieve his goals. She feared that everything she had worked so hard to build would collapse if Victor continued with his plan. After learning the truth about his mother, it was inevitable that he felt regret. He had always trusted Diane, thinking that she only wanted the best for him and his family, but now, the truth that she had returned for power and money weighed heavily on his mind. Kyle feels like he's been taken advantage of, not just by his mother, but by himself as he lets blind loyalty lead him to make bad decisions. Jabot is facing a serious crisis, and Kyle is now left to make amends for his mistakes. But can he win back the trust of his father, Jack, and can Diane save her marriage when everything is falling apart around her? Subscribe to Yonder for the latest news on our channel.